Good morning, everyone. Let's start with the same chapter that we did yesterday, The Little Match Girl. I'm sure the story is clear and you have read it. That is what I believe. Please do make sure that you do watch the video every day and read the chapter. Please do not ignore it, right? Make sure that you have this habit of reading the story every day. Now, see, I've already explained you the Little Match Girl story is about this poor girl who is out on the streets in this extreme cold and she's trying to sell matches. She's scared to go back home because she is well aware of the fact that her father will surely beat her. Apart from that, she's also not willing to go home. Why? Because the condition of the house is not that good. Apart from that, the people, if we can see it's a New Year's Eve, people, they are all self-involved. They are not at all worried about this poor girl. They are there on the streets, but they are not at all bothered, and even they are completely ignoring this poor girl. She's barefoot, she's bareheaded, and she's actually trying to sell matches. Not even a single person has bought a matchbox from her. Nobody has bought any matches from her, and nobody even cared to lend her or to give her a penny. So this poor girl, she's cold, she's hungry, and she is actually looking for some warmth. Now, if you have read the chapter, I'm sure you do remember that there were different visions that she had while she tried to lit the match to keep herself warm. With the first vision, I hope you remember that when she lit the match for the first time, she had the vision of an iron stove with the brass ornaments, brass knobs, and all, and she could feel the warmth of it. Now, that first vision symbolizes the lack of warmth in her life. Like she is cold, she's actually barefoot and bareheaded. She is looking for something that can keep her warm. That is why the first vision that she gets is of a stove. Second vision that she gets is of the roasted goose, right? We can see that she imagines that the wall turns transparent, and then of course from the table there's this roast goose. It jumps off and it is walking towards this poor girl. So this poor girl is imagining this roasted goose because she is actually starving. She's hungry, and that is why she's imagining or she's hallucinating the same scene here. Third, I hope you remember, the image or the vision was of the Christmas tree. Now, this Christmas tree is a huge Christmas tree, and there are lights. It is beautifully decorated. She even remembers the Christmas tree that she must have seen last year. She compares the both. She compares both the trees as well. And now, finally, when she tries to reach or to touch the lights, these lights they turn into the stars. After that, she even gets the vision where she actually saw her grandmother. Now, grandmother was the only person who actually loved her. So she was really missing her. She lacked that kind of love or warmth in her life. Now, with the last matchstick, she saw her grandmother. She was not ready to lose her. That is why she lit few more matches so that she can grab her grandmother. She can keep her with herself. And finally, what happens is her grandmother takes her with her, takes this poor little girl with her to the heaven, right? To the God, to so that she's out of this pain and suffering. Now, after going through the chapter or reading it nicely, let's discuss some of the important questions here. See, the question number one says, why is she on the streets? Now, it is easy. It is given there on page number 88, if you remember. It was bitter cold. Snow was falling and darkness was gathering, for it was the last evening of the old year. However, A poor little girl walked bareheaded and barefoot through the streets. Now, why she was barefoot, you don't have to write that, but she was barefoot and bareheaded. Why was she on the streets? It is given in the next para if you would like to see that she, in her old apron, she carried a great many matches. Now, this poor girl, she was carrying all the matches with her. And why was she on the streets, even though it was the New Year's Eve, or even though it was so cold? Because she was trying to sell her matches so that she can earn a penny. She was looking for um, some kind of help, and nobody, the people who were on the streets, they were so ignorant. They completely ignored the girl. They were not even bothered. It's an irony actually. And nobody was bothered about this poor girl. So she's walking on the streets, she's trying to sell matches, and of course she's trying to earn penny, you know she's trying to earn some money so that when she goes back home she'll be safe from getting the beating. Why does the word, okay, the next part of the same question, what does the word poor signify? Now if you have read the chapter, then I'm sure you understand that we are talking about this poor little girl. Here, poor not only means that we are feeling pity or sympathetic towards her, it also means that she was extremely poor. She had not a she had a house, but it was not a proper house, right? The walls, they had huge cracks in it, which were filled with straw and rags. The ceiling was not proper, and apart from that, you can picture her. She's a girl who's walking on the streets, that too barefoot and bareheaded. She was actually wearing her mother's slippers, but they were too big for her, right? So this girl, we're not talking about just a poor girl, just you feel pity and you just look at the girl. No, we're talking about the actual condition of this poor little girl. She was extremely poor. And when she was on the streets, she was trying to sell matches so that she can earn something. So the image of the poor, or the word poor, actually signifies her poor condition, right? So remember that part. There are many examples given here which can actually support your answer when you're talking about her condition. Okay, let's move to the next question. See, it says here, does she return back home? We have done that earlier as well, that she was trying to sell matches. She was on the streets and just walking around bareheaded, barefoot. She was trying to earn a penny. There's a reason behind it why she was trying to earn something. She knew that if she'll go home without even a single penny, or without selling matches, then one thing was sure, that she would get beating from her father. That signifies that her father was not at all careful, or was not caring or loving towards her. He was really harsh. Imagine a man is sitting at home and he's forcing her daughter to go out and sell matches. So you can imagine the condition of the poor girl. So she was very scared to go home. Now they have given here another reason in the book itself, that see, apart from that, they had nothing. Of course, when she's talking about they had nothing, means they have nothing in the house, no proper things, or maybe no food, nothing. So she never wanted to come back home. First, because of her father's behavior. Second, because of her house, they had nothing. Then it says here, but the roof above them and the wind, they had nothing but the roof. Only a roof, right? And that too not a proper roof. Apart from that, the wind whistled through that. So even the wind could pass through the roof or through the walls. So this girl was in a very miserable condition. After that, it says here, even though the largest cracks were stuffed with straw and rags, still, it was of no help, it was of no use. So you should know, if no, if your answer is no, she was not willing to go back home, then you should know why she was not willing to go back home, right? Because of her father's behavior. There was no love and warmth in his heart for her, for his poor girl, right? And apart from that, the condition of the house was not good enough, not good enough to keep her secure. And that is one of the biggest reasons why she dies, right? Okay, let's move to the third question. What could the girl see in lighting the match? Now, I have already told you this answer. This girl was trying to keep herself warm. And for doing so, what she was actually doing, she kept on lighting matches. And apart from doing that, while she was lighting the matches, she was getting the images, the visions, or we can say that she was hallucinating things, right? For example, when she lit the first match, she was little scared, but then she thought, what's the harm in lighting, at least, in lighting one match to keep herself warm? When she did, what happens is she started getting the warmth of it, and she saw a huge iron stove in front of her. Now this iron stove, the one that was in front of her, had polished brass knobs and brass ornaments. So it was a beautiful iron stove. Remember, this iron stove signifies what? The warmth. She was feeling cold and she was trying to keep herself warm. And by doing so, what she did, when she was trying to keep herself warm, what she actually did was, you know, she imagined the iron stove, right? So that's the first vision. After that, that means we have to talk. Now, what could the girl see by lighting the match? She could see all the things that were missing from her life, be it the warmth, be it the love, hunger, starving, whatever, desires or compassion. So, whatever she was missing in her life, she could actually get everything by lighting the match, right? So, remember that part. What does the grandmother do? Now, what happens is when she actually lit the last match, what she saw was her grandmother. And when she saw her grandmother, she lit few more matches. Why? Because she was scared of losing her. Her grandmother was the only one who actually loved her. She was so much in love with her grandmother that she was not ready to lose her. And because of that, what she did, she lit few more matches so that she can keep her grandmother near her. She can keep her grandmother with her, right? Remember that part. And what does the grandmother do? It is given here, page number 90. We can see that the matches flared up. The last paragraph of your book. The matches flared up with such a blaze that it was brighter than broad daylight. And her old grandmother had never seemed so beautiful and so stately before. She took the little girl in her arms. This is what she actually did. She took the little girl in her arms and flew with her high up, so high towards glory and joy. Now they knew neither cold nor hunger nor fear, for they were with God. Right? So, this is what actually her grandmother did. She held her close to her heart and then they both flew up towards heaven. That means we're talking about their soul, right? And this poor little girl, she died. Why? Because of cold, hunger, fear, lack of love. Okay. Next, it says the last one. What are the beautiful things that the little girl has seen? Now remember what were the beautiful things that this little girl must have seen is where you will be talking about what the visions that she must have seen, the hallucinations. So remember, do not miss this question. It is again important, and apart from that, it is important in a sense that they like you may get a question what it actually signifies. See, I have a thing here. I really wanted you to know about it. See, it is given in your workbooks as well. If you have your workbooks, please do read it. It is important. You will get the idea or you'll get the proper answers in it. See, it says here, this little girl, okay, she is hoping for more and more. First, a table. Now, when she lit the matchstick, she got the iron stove that symbolizes the warmth that was missing in her life, right? Warmth of love can make one achieve wonders. One can face much adversity when one has the love from one's near and dear ones. Now, this poor girl, she was not even loved by her father. The family of the little girl may be living under poverty, but if her father would have been little compassionate, then the little girl would have gone back home and not died freezing in the cold on the streets. Now, this is the first part. What she was missing, what was actually missing from her life? Compassion and love. So her father was not at all compassionate or loving towards her. If he would have been, then this poor little girl, she must have gone home and she would have survived the cold. After that, you can see, you know, it is that warmth of love that the little girl desires. In this case, she desires any individual desires, that is the love. Apart from that, see, in the end, we can see that she is leaving this nasty, cruel world and going with her grandmother to the other world of eternal joys. So she'll be joining her grandmother in the heaven. Now, you need to understand. Apart from that, I hope you remember all the visions and what they symbolize. Remember it, please. I, I will, if you want, I can repeat all the all the visions that she had. The first was the iron stove. The second was the dining table, the roasted goose. Third was of the Christmas tree. And the fourth one was her grandmother. Please do remember that. And there's one more thing that I really wanted to tell you. It is from the first question, what does the word poor signify? Now it says here, it is poverty which makes people live in adverse situations and circumstances and make them do things which are beyond human tolerance. The girl in this chapter, the little match girl, belongs to one such poor family where poverty has forced the little girl's parents to send her on the street to sell matches. A beautiful little girl like her needs to be at home on such a chilly, freezing day and should have been enjoying the New Year's Eve. But circumstances do not allow everyone the chance to celebrate New Year's Eve. But the little girl in the story, in spite of her miserable condition, has the courage. She, with all her dreams, tries to celebrate the new year in her own way, with the light of the matchstick, right? Though she's able to, you know, see all the enjoyments of the world, she's still lost. She's somewhere in a very miserable condition. However, in the end, it's a kind of a happy ending, that in the end she's away from all this pain, sufferings, hunger, and fear. She's with the one who actually loved her. That was her grandmother. And now finally they know nothing about the cruel world. They know nothing about the pain and the sufferings. They are in the heaven again with God and safe. They have no problem, they have no pain, no nothing. So they are away from this cruel world. Just do one thing, go through the chapter again, and please do these questions in your notebook. Make sure that you are copying. Okay, now you are in class 10. Make sure that you have the same register that you were using in class 9 for English literature. Right? Just fold a page, write class 10 there, and start with a new chapter, The Little Match Girl. Right? So just copy these questions. They are here, and you can very well pause the video and copy these questions and write the answers in your own words. If you have doubts, if you have problems, you can very well contact me and I'll help you. Right? So that is it for today. Fine, just do it. Thank you.